For my pitch to Pi Kappa Delta, I would like to acknowledge the importance of allowing guns on college campuses and events, specifically concealed carry during speech and debate tournaments. Now, we all know too well that one of the most widely known deadliest shootings in U.S. history took place on April 16, 2007 at Virginia Polytechnic Institute and State University. 32 students and teachers died after being gunned down by Shanghai Chow, who was a student of the school. The violence began when Chow shot a female freshman and a male resident assistant inside a dormitory early one morning. The police were soon on the scene, unaware of the gunman's identity, and they initially pursued the female victim's boyfriend as what they thought was an isolated domestic violence incident. However, a few hours later, Chow armed himself with a 9mm handgun and a .22 caliber handgun. He had hundreds of rounds of ammunition, and he entered a classroom building, and he locked and chained several main doors and went from room to room shooting people. Approximately 10 minutes after this began, he committed suicide. The attack left 30 people dead and another 17 wounded. In all, 27 students and 5 faculty members died as a result of Chow's actions. 2 days later, on April 18th, Embassy News received a package of materials from Chow with a timestamp indicating that he had mailed the package between the first and second shooting attacks. So this means that he had enough time between shootings to leisurely mail a media package while campus police were preoccupied with the wrong suspects. And many people were also surprised to learn that 19 of the 32 victims at the Virginia Tech massacre were over the age of 21, which is the minimum age to obtain a concealed carry license in Ohio and most other states. Though it is impossible to know how the presence of an armed concealed handgun license holder might have impacted a particular shooting, it is conceivable that had one of those 19 or older victims had their concealed carry weapons permit and the means to stop the shooter, that one or more of the 13 younger victims might have been saved. And that is one of the many reasons why I want to allocate allowing students and faculty the right to conceal carry at speech and debate tournaments. Now, if Pi Kappa Delta allowed students and faculty to conceal carry at tournaments, not every student or faculty member would just be able to go out and grab a gun and bring it to a tournament. First and foremost, the potential carry holder would have to obtain their concealed carry weapons permit through their state. They'd have to obtain their concealed carry license and go through a bunch of detailed steps. Some of those steps include being over 21 age of older. In Ohio, you have to be a resident for 45 days or more, have no felony charges, be educated and tested both on the basic rules of gun safety and the laws pertaining to a concealed handgun, and understand the difference between threatening to use deadly force and actually using deadly force. And the person must not have ever been classified as mentally defective or committed to any mental institution. He or she must then contact their local sheriff's office, not only for an application, but also a thorough background check. You must pass a mental competency check and have your fingerprints taken on record, and you must pay a fee all through your sheriff's office before even considering obtaining your concealed weapons license. And all those who would carry at speech and debate tournaments would be thoroughly trained and licensed. And there are 2 main reasons to allow concealed carry at college speech and debate tournaments. The first is a legal entitlement to self-defense, which holds true in countless other locations within a given state, without the need to demonstrate for self-defense. The second reason is the actual need for self-defense. Critics of students who are licensed concealed carry holders often claim that because colleges and college events are often safer environments with less crime per capita than the rest of the United States, concealed carry and armed defense are unnecessary. But I'm not disputing that colleges overall see less crime, although extensive records on crime on college campuses are not kept. Studies do indeed indicate that campuses overall have comparatively lower crime rates. It is logical to conclude that a campus typically populated by students averaging 18 to 22 years of age, staff and faculty would be less inclined towards crime, and that if anything else, poor students make poor robbery targets. However, it is not logical to compare select zones of a city street to a national average and declare them safe, and therefore off limits for concealed carry. Crimes are committed in new locations every day, and no one ever expected a quiet college in Blacksburg, Virginia to become the target of a psychopath's killing spree. I want to make it clear that there is no scientific evidence that brain function and decision-making ability of a 21-year-old is sustainably or even measurably different than a 25-year-old. However, there is a good deal of scientific evidence to the contrary. According to a research study at Harris University in Chicago, Illinois, when scientists say that the human brain does not fully mature until the age of 25, the emphasis is on the word fully. The vast majority of brain development is completed by age of 20. The remaining development, in essence, is finishing touches. Saying the brain of a 21-year-old is not fully developed is like saying that a construction crew has not finished building a house simply because they haven't put the covers on the light switches. The statement is technically true, but it is highly misleading. And while it may be safe to say that colleges overall are less prone to crime than national averages, those numbers are useless in determining an individual's vulnerability to robbery, rape, or a campus's vulnerability to mass shootings. Despite being lower, the statistics clearly show that thousands of crimes take place on college campuses daily. In 2001 alone, 610 murders and 11,659 robberies were reported across campuses in America. From 2005 through 2007, more than 100 murders, 16,000 assaults, and 10,000 forcible sexual assaults were reported on college campuses, and that amounts to an average of 9 sexual assaults a day on college campuses. And while crime on campus may be rarer than the rest of America, it still happens. Until college campuses can guarantee a student will never encounter a threatening situation, they must never prohibit students from their own means of protection. Because ultimately, the only person available to protect yourself 24/7 is you. And if a student or faculty member is caught with a firearm at a tournament without their concealed carry permit, they will automatically forfeit their position in the tournament and would no longer be allowed to compete at any speech and debate tournament. Further punishment can be covered by their home university. Allowing concealed carry at speech and debate tournaments is relevant because of many reasons. Campus police officers simply aren't enough protection. No, we haven't had any shootings or attacks at any speech and debate tournaments, but who's to say it won't happen in the future? The Virginia Tech shootings clearly show that a deranged gunman can do a great deal of damage in just a few minutes it takes campus police to arrive on the scene. And campus police simply can't be dispatched in time to stop a madman from taking innocent lives. According to the police beat, the average response time for a police officer is 10 minutes. In a matter of seconds, tremendous damage could be done. And only the people at the scene, when the rampage starts, the potential victims, have the potential to stop such a shooting massacre before it turns into a bloodbath. Also, let's not forget about the Second Amendment to our Constitution. It is clear that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed upon, period. The Second Amendment guarantees fundamental rights that belong to all law-abiding citizens. Its purpose is to guarantee our right to defend ourselves. And the Second Amendment is about self-defense. It's plain and it's simple. It's been said that the Second Amendment is America's first freedom. That's because the right to keep and bear arms protects all of our other rights. We are the only country in the world that has a Second Amendment, and why should that be taken away at speech and debate tournaments? I'm not advocating that every student or faculty member carry a handgun at tournaments, but those who want to carry for their own safety should be entitled to that right. I want those individuals aged 21 and older who possess valid concealed carry weapons permits to be afforded the same right to carry at speech and debate tournaments than they are afforded virtually everywhere else. It is important to remember that concealed carry is about personal protection, not public protection. The fact that some students and faculty might not enjoy all the benefits of concealed carry at tournaments doesn't mean that all students should be denied the means to protect themselves at tournaments. And recently, there's been an increase in college campuses that allow students to conceal carry, such as Texas, Utah, and Colorado. Thus far, no state has seen an increase of gun violence as a result of legalizing concealed carry, despite the fact that licensed citizens regularly carry concealed handguns in places like office buildings, movie theaters, grocery stores, shopping malls, restaurants, churches, and even banks. And virtually every peer-reviewed study on the subject, including studies by the National Academy of Science and the Harvard Injury Control Research Center, has concluded that there is no evidence out there that a licensed concealed carry leads to an increase in either violent crime or gun deaths. I'm advocating to change Pi Kappa Delta's ban on guns to allow concealed carry at tournaments to those who are trained, educated, and certified. Who knows when something could happen like it did on that spring day in Virginia. And always remember, it's better to have a gun than not need it, than to need a gun and not have it. Thank you.